JioMart is at the center of how millions of Indians shop every day. As customer expectations evolve toward speed, simplicity, relevance, and reliability, platforms must evolve just as fast. To build for the next decade of exponential growth, JioMart is now transitioning to a new digital commerce foundation, Fynd Commerce platform. With Fynd Commerce platform, the JioMart interface is fully modernized, clean layouts, faster rendering, and sharper navigation. It is also adaptable to customers' location. Product discovery is smarter with dynamic filters, improved ranking, and faster search response. Product decision-making is now clearer with an optimized product detail, structured information, pricing clarity, offers, and trust markers all in one place. Checkout is smoother and predictable with fewer steps, clearer offer visibility, and seamless native payments. Customers now see more precise delivery windows, real-time tracking, and progressive order status updates. Returns are simpler and fully structured with refined reason codes. Fynd Commerce platform is built to support multiple regional languages, conversational interfaces, and ready to power future experience surfaces across devices and channels. Behind the scenes, Fynd Commerce platform transforms how the business operates. Teams now have self-serve campaign setup, store-level pricing, polygon-based serviceability, and standardized post-order operations for refunds, cancellations, and support. Most importantly, Fynd Commerce platform creates a unified data foundation for progressively smarter merchandising, fulfillment, and customer engagement powered by UCP. JioMart on Fynd Commerce platform is not just a platform upgrade, it is the digital engine for the next phase of scale, intelligence, and customer delight.
It's 9:47 on a Tuesday evening in Mumbai. A customer opens an app, adds 2 liters of milk to their cart, and taps pay. The moment that tap lands, the clock starts. In 14 minutes, that customer expects to see their milk at their door. Behind that clock, invisible to the customer, 1,000 stores light up. An inventory ledger updates in milliseconds. A dispatch engine makes routing decision in under 2 seconds. A rider on a scooter 2.3 kilometers away gets pinged. But none of these systems existed around 3 years ago. Right. Hi, I'm Shashank. I lead engineering strategy and execution on the Fynd platform, the technology backbone behind JioMart. And I would like to welcome you and thank you for taking a few minutes out for this discussion. While we take a look at the numbers on this slide, this talk is not about these numbers. The conversation is about what it took to earn them. Specifically about the migration we did, moving India's largest grocer onto the Fynd Commerce platform, and what we learned about quick commerce in the process. By the end of next 30 minutes, I would like you to walk away with one idea. Quick commerce is not faster e-commerce. It's altogether a different business that happens to share the same logo or a brand name. If I want you to live with just one takeaway from today's discussion, this shall be the one. 30-40 minutes is too short of a time to cover the entire migration at length. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to walk you through the migration we ran at JioMart, the move on to the Fynd Commerce platform, and the lessons we learned out of the migration as we go. The structure is simple: the shift, the why, the platform anatomy, the system we had to build, the bottlenecks we hit, and the workload changes we had to make. Then I shall pass on the baton to Kartik to touch base on the UX complexities, unit economics, the regional realities, and the 12-month roadmap. I want to start by undoing something. Most techs treat e-commerce and quick commerce as a feature list difference. Bigger catalog versus smaller ones, slower delivery versus faster. The framing itself is wrong. The honest difference is constraint. Look at this table top to bottom. The promise changes from days to minutes. That single change cascades into everything else. Your fulfillment nodes moves from a regional warehouse to a hyperlocal hub. Your geography collapses from a national map to a 3 kilometer polygon. Your catalog drops from millions of SKUs to a few thousand. Your inventory model flips from a push to pull and from weekly forecast to a daily replenishment. Your success metric is no longer cost per shipment now. And here is something I need to emphasize on. E-commerce is a logistic problem solved by software. Quick commerce is a software problem constrained by the physical world. You cannot hack your way out of the 15-minute delivery promise if your dark store is 12 kilometers from the customer. The store has to be in physical vicinity. Once you accept that, every architectural decision that follows start to make sense. And the e-commerce architecture you have today starts to look in the wrong shape for the new problem, which is exactly the gap we set out to close at JioMart. Here are 5 reasons on this slide, but I shall emphasize on 3 of them, the ones that will change your conversation with your leadership. The first one, consumer expectations have already shifted. Look at the names on the slide: JioMart, Blinkit, Amazon Now, Noon Minutes, Karim Quick, Talabat, InstaShop, Jumia. Quick commerce is mainstream in your customer's phone. 2-day delivery now reads broken to a generation of urban customers. The benchmark has been reset and you don't get to opt off it. The second one is the one that gets misunderstood most often. Quick commerce is a frequency business and not a basket size or an average order volume business. Your customer acquisition cost payback math comes from how often your customer orders and now how big your single order is. You are building a habit. If your business case for quick commerce assume that you will recover your acquisition cost in second order, you are going to be disappointed. You are better off building the model for the 10th order. And the third, the unit economics improves when the tech stack is right. JioMart hit 3 times order capacity without a proportional cost increase, not because we threw bodies to the problem, but we replatformed it. This is going to be the most useful slide for any digital transformation lead in the room. So I want to spend a little minute on it. 3 columns: what you keep, what you rebuild, and what you need to build from scratch. Starting with the left one, what you keep. Your storefront shell, your identity layer, your payment gateways, your CRM, your analytics, they stay as is. Your PIM survives as well, but you are going to cut down from maybe 1,000 SKUs to maybe a few thousand one. You don't need a longer catalog, honestly. You need a sharper one. The middle one, what you rebuild. These are the systems that share the same name you have today, but the internals are completely different. Your OMS now has to allocate to the nearest dark store in under 2 seconds. Your WMS is now micro fulfillment optimized with picker apps and slot-based replenishment. Your search is geo-fenced. What is available depends on the customer's polygon. And your checkout collapses to the single screen. On to the right, what you build new as you don't have these today, right? A transport management system for fleet, dispatch, and live tracking, a hyperlocal inventory ledger, an ETA engine, and an ops command center. The right column is the migration, and that is the real work. This is the slide I am most direct on, and you would rather see the mapping at work rather than taking a guess at it. When we replatformed JioMart, we did not assemble 6 different vendors into a brittle stack. We migrated onto a single platform, the Fynd Commerce platform, that already had the 6 capabilities working together. Let me walk through them quickly. 1. Transport management, geofencing, intelligent dispatch, live order tracking, capacity management. That's Fynd TMS. This is the system that powers JioMart's 5,000 plus location rollout today. 2. Warehouse and dark store management, receiving, picking, slotting, expiry, planogramming. That's Fynd WMS, is micro fulfillment optimized. 3. Order management, multi-channel order capture and sub 2-second store allocation we just talked about. 4. A quick commerce native storefront. Add to cart onto a single listing page, a single screen checkout, polygon aware catalog. That's Fynd storefront in its quick configuration. 5. Logistics orchestration via Fynd Logistics. Third-party logistics fallback, multi-fleet routings, and so on. And 6. Fynd engage loyalty and re-engagement. Habit mechanics, point gamification. But remember, quick commerce is altogether a frequency business. Here is the line I want you to leave this slide with. Most of you have one of these 6. The transformation you are contemplating is in the other 5. That is the honest scope of work and the same conversation we had with JioMart before we started. 6 bottlenecks, or I like to call them as failure modes. We addressed each one of these at JioMart, and every quick commerce player needs to address them too. Imprecise zone mapping. Pin code cover too much area, order get assigned to a wrong store, the promise breaks. Manual dispatch. Thousands of simultaneous orders, no intelligent rider assignment, operations break before launch on your day 1. No real-time visibility. Customers cannot see their ETA, support tickets explodes, and trust erodes. Inventory in the wrong dark store. Stockouts directly breaks the delivery promise, and unlike e-commerce, there is no second best alternative. Your order just fails. Infrastructure built for e-commerce cannot take rapid city by city rollout you have for quick commerce. And finally, unit economics pressure. Short delivery distances and high delivery density. And if you cannot optimize routes intelligently, your contribution margins are going to be negative and shall stay there. I will tell you something honestly. The Fynd Commerce platform exists today because we ticked all 6 of this. Every capability I briefed on the previous slide was sharpened against one of these failure modes. The Fynd platform did not evolve theoretically. It is scaled and is battle tested. And each one of them traces back to the clock I described at the start of this talk. The clock that started ticking the moment the customer in Mumbai tapped pay. That clock is the business now. Everything you build, every system you migrate, every team you recognize or reorganize, it serves that clock. That is what it means to move from e-commerce to quick commerce. And that is the migration we are running every day on the Fynd Commerce platform. With this, I would like to hand you guys over to Karthik.
Thank you, Shashank. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Karthik Parashar, Business Unit Head Mobility at Successive Digital. I have over 10 years of experience delivering 20 high-impact projects across industries like e-commerce, healthcare, finance, and entertainment. So let's start with something simple, customer UX. In traditional e-commerce, buying something takes effort. You go home, browse, product page, cart, checkout. That's about 5 steps. And honestly, a lot of chances to drop off. Quick commerce flips this. Now it's basically you see something, you add it, you pay, done. 2 steps. How? Because a lot of things are already handled in the background. Your address is auto-detected, payments are saved, checkout is compressed into one screen. From a business side, this means higher conversion. From a tech side, it means everything has to work together in real time. Inventory, payment, delivery, everything. So quick commerce is really about removing friction, not just saving time. Now let's talk money. The part people usually skip. Per order, your margin is actually pretty tight. You are looking at AOV around $15 to $25. Rider cost may be $1.5 to $3. Picking and packing under $1. So you don't have a lot of room to play with. That's why only 3 things really matter. How many orders a rider can deliver per hour. This is huge. Even a small improvement here changes everything. How efficient your dark store is. How fast you can pick, pack and move orders. So basket mix, not just bigger carts, but more profitable ones. And one more important mindset shift. The business is not about one big order. It's about frequent orders. You are building a habit, not just making a sale. Now this is where things get interesting. Middle East is very different. Payments, for example, cash is still big in some markets. In other, cards dominate. And in places like East Africa, mobile money is key. And there is operations. You are delivering in 45-degree heat that affects everything. Packaging, delivery, speed, even working hours. Regulations are also heavier. Setting up a dark store isn't instant. It can take a couple of months. Rider dynamics are different too. Cost and availability vary a lot by country. Then there is localization. Arabic first, RTL, multiple languages. You can't ignore this. But the biggest thing, trust. In this region, if a customer loses trust, you don't get them back easily. So you can't just copy paste a global model here. You have to adapt. Let me give you a real example. JioMart wanted 10 to 30 minutes delivery across 5,000 plus locations. That's not something traditional logistic can handle. They were facing issues like broken service areas, manual dispatch, no clear delivery visibility. So they bought in a proper logistic system. What changed? Smarter routing, about 40% faster, better tracking. Customers knew exactly where their order was. Faster onboarding. Stores went live in hours, not months. And the results were pretty strong. 3x order capacity, way less manual work, fewer customer support calls, and almost fully automated operations. What is the key takeaway? Don't rush the shiny front end. Fix the backend first, logistic, dispatch, inventory. That's what actually makes quick commerce work. So if you are thinking, how do we actually do this? Here is a simple way to approach it. First couple of months, keep it small. Pick one city, one category, one store. Figure out your cost and basic setup. Next phase, build the core systems, inventory, logistics, ETA, and a simplified app experience. Then go live in one city. Track everything closely, orders per rider, delivery times, daily performance, and only after that start scaling. Add a few more cities, build a control center, and then decide how big you want to do this. The big idea is don't scale too early. In quick commerce, operations are the product. If ops break, everything breaks. Now, before we close, let's zoom out a bit and look at the scale we are already operating at. Because quick commerce isn't really stage anymore. It's already running at massive volume. We are talking about 15 lakh plus orders every single day. And this is not peak traffic. This is daily behavior. Coverage has expanded to 5,000 plus pin codes across India, which means this is no longer just a metro story. It's moving in small cities as well. On the supply side, if we talk about 3,000 plus stores are being powered, mostly dark stores, designed specifically for speed and efficiency. And behind all this, there is a 20 million plus catalog being maintained. So even though the promise is speed, customers still expect variety. So the point is, quick commerce is not just fast, it's complex at a scale. You are balancing speed, inventory accuracy, routing, and customer experience all at the same time for millions of orders. So to wrap this up, I want to leave you with three key decisions. If you are moving with e-commerce to quick commerce, these are the ones that really define your journey. Standalone app or integrated mode. Do you build a separate e-commerce or plug it into your existing e-commerce experience? What we have seen is most successful players started standalone because the user mindset is completely different. In e-commerce, people browse. In quick commerce, people act fast. If you try to mix both journeys too early, you usually end up slowing things down. Second, build core system or buy. Not everything needs to be built from scratch. Core systems like TMS, WMS, OMS, these are already mature. You can integrate and move faster. But the parts that really differentiate you, like routing logic, demand prediction, customer experience, those are worth building. That's where you win. Third, where is your contribution margin floor? The one is critical. If you don't know the minimum margin at which your business works, you can't scale safely because this model runs on tight margins and high operational pressures. So before you expand, you need clarity on your unit economics. And I will end with this thought. Quick, quick commerce is not just fast e-commerce. It is a completely different business. Same customer, maybe even the same brand, but a very different operating model behind the scenes. And if you get that right, that's where the real advantage comes in. Thank you. Happy to take questions.
Okay, so let's start with the. Can you tell me the single most important thing we need to set to move from e-com to quick com? Okay, so I think the the foremost and the most fundamental thing which needs to be done is onboarding or getting a TMS or a transport management system, because the biggest shift would be you would actually be moving to a dark store model versus the traditional warehouse model, and both of them are actually fine tuned to honor like different use cases or the problem statement. The traditional warehouse one is optimized to reduce the number of or reduce the cost per shipment, whereas the dark store model is like how quickly you can actually deliver to uh, the customer. Also, like you would actually be moving away from the polygon, moving to the polygon based from the traditional pin code basis, where the shipment would be serviced from a central warehouse, which is like could be like few thousand of kilometers from the customer, and it would take like a day or two to reach to the customer in minimum. Whereas you actually move to you're optimizing a radius or a radii of like close to 1 to 3 kilometers uh, through a polygon, right? So that can only be serviced by a different system altogether, because it touch bases onto your inventory. It also sends some signal to your riders systems, so that the entire promise of 15 minutes can actually be fulfilled. Another very critical thing is you actually need to your system needs to be agile in a way that adding a new dark store should be like a day's job at max, only on the configuration. You don't actually need to write a different integration while you actually connect to a different dark store or a warehouse, right? So I think these two would be the critical ones.
Okay, so I have seen one more question. How do you manage and optimize mobile app performance in a quick commerce platform? Okay. So in quick commerce, mobile app performance directly impacts conversion and retention because users expect everything instantly. We focus on three major areas. We talk about fast app startup and smooth UI rendering using optimized assets, the images. That means lazy loading and minimizing unnecessary re-renders. So the other point is efficient API handling with caching, pagination, background syncing, and reducing network payload size. So for real-time monitoring, you can use Firebase performance, Crashlytics, analytics to track crashes, ANRs, API latency, and screen load time. We also optimize app size, memory usage, and battery consumption because Q-commerce apps are used very frequently throughout the day. In short, performance is treated as a core product feature, not just a technical improvement. That's it.
Cool. How many orders per day would JioMart Quick be doing right now? We are doing between 1.5 million to 2 million orders per day. That depends on the which day of the week you are. Is there any other event or national holiday coming up? Yeah, but between these two broad numbers. SLAs are close to 95-ish. Okay, click on Q&A.
Where is
What factors it is about? Okay, so I'll take this.
scheduled delivery? Yes, it is. So let's suppose the store is closed and you are ordering. So we are displaying on the app that the currently store is closed, but you can schedule it for tomorrow morning. The first order that we will deliver, we will schedule it for tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Also, just to add on to what Karthik briefed, it's more of a business decision which we actually need to take, right? So, do we want to do it? If you see that few of the uh, other e-com or like quick com player, they didn't have this particular feature because they actually wanted to build this particular habit, and that was the key differentiator between e-commerce and a quick commerce one. But yeah, eventually, when they are actually picking out on how much orders they are able to get from a geography. So this is a new area which they actually want to tap into, where they know that they don't the customers won't be there, but they actually want to schedule it because they are not confident that they would be able to place it at the real time, right? They might forget or something. But so, yeah, so this is more of a feature which can actually be serviced by the quick com thing, because where you actually have some sort of a data where you have some buffer added onto the promise which you would be taking. So you actually pre-pack it, so a lot of complexities get decreased. Yeah. Another one which just came up is, I'm curious about how this works behind the scenes. How do you decide which product a user can actually see and order in the quick commerce? Yes, yes. This is critical. So what actually happens is the moment any customer opens the app, it is actually based on the lat long or that specific coordinates. A call is made to the transport management system, which actually zero down the servicing store, and by the time the homepage loads, which is like less than a couple of seconds, uh, a real-time inventory is fetched from of that particular store with that pricing and everything, and it gets filtered out, and and the person or the customer is only able to place an order, or only the products which are available at that zero down store could be placed and are visible to the customer. Right. There is also a newer use case which is actually coming in, where you want to increase the assortment, so that a dark store can typically accommodate close to 4,000, 5,000 SKUs, right? But if you see a few of the competitors or few of the stores, and the JioMart is also onto the same lines, you are actually creating two polygons, one with a delivery promise of close to like 12 to 15 minutes, and then another delivery promise of like 25 to 30 minutes. And there would be two shipments, and that's how you are able to improve the assortment which is available to an end customer. But certainly there would be minimum two shipments, because there would be two uh, deliveries which would be made to the customer, and it's onto the UX part, that how easily you are communicating this to the customer, so that he or she is not surprised. Okay, other one is, how should brand think about balancing profitability versus speed in the early stages of q-commerce adoption? A little less abstract, honestly. But yeah, like how, so when we actually discussed about this, like when you actually zero down to a specific city, and you actually need to zero down to a specific locality where you actually can set up that store. So that planogramming which we have in the WMS, coupled with the all the competitor data which we already have for all the e-commerce, quick commerce and e-commerce players within the region, we can actually identify the best location where you can actually set up that particular warehouse. At the same time, what all assortment which you can keep. Also, we have an intelligence layer being set up, which actually monitors the pricing of your top performing SKUs versus the price which is actually set by the other incumbents, based on which, and you can actually make some sort of real time decisions with some sort of GAI into the place, where you can always have an edge above your customers and everything. And also like some sort of marketing and incentivizing, which actually helps bringing the customer onto your app, and would also play a critical role.
So the next question is regarding the decision between monolithic architecture versus microservice architecture. So there is no one definition, because this is depends totally on the situation that you have. For example, let's suppose you don't have any platform and you are building it from scratch. So for early stage startup, I believe a modular monolith works better, because it's simpler, faster to develop, easy to debug. Uh, but let's suppose at the platform scales with the high traffic, real-time inventory, decision orchestration, then basically you need microservice architecture, because it becomes important for independent scaling and faster deployments. So the best approach is usually start with a well-structured monolith architecture. If I'm talking about well-structured monolith architecture, that means basically you have different modules in your same repo, and moduled between different layers like order, a product, and payment, checkout. These are the all the modules that you can split into a single repo, and you can design the database accordingly. You can create different views, just not a one view, so that when you scale, you can easily segregate out these services from the monolith to the microservice, and you can in the future you can scale independently those services.
Okay, so another one, there is a follow-on question from Bhuvan. So on the JioMart number, does it include scheduled delivery? No, these are like only commerce numbers, right? What would be the scheduled order percentage? I think that that's not a focus anymore, because like the scheduled orders, we predominantly want to operate or continue to operate into some sort of grocery or grocery related categories, and with some sort of electronics, like a grab and go electronics sort of things, right? So that's pretty much that lion's share. And for every other app, we do believe that there has to be some sort of a physical presence, like people would like to invest into a refrigerator which costs you like a couple of lakhs, so they would definitely tend to uh, go and experience it at a Reliance Digital store and then make that particular buying decision. They can certainly do that. But yeah, I don't have that exact percentage split on that particular part. Okay, what is the penetration of pin codes of JioMart Quick in metro versus non-metro cities? We, I think as of yesterday, we were at 5,600 pin codes across. I think in India we have 19,000. So I think we have the largest assortment or the coverage in terms of number of stores and number of serviceable pin codes, which falls under Quick. So it's 5,600 as of yesterday, and we are adding like a couple of dark stores every day. So yeah, so it keeps on increasing. Yeah, and with the help of like optimizations on multiple systems, you keep on increasing the 15-minute delivery promise radii of that particular polygon, which actually that how many dark stores. We have like an hybrid model, so where we have dedicated dark stores plus the existing stores, which actually couples as as a point of delivery of it. So that's close to 3,600. And yeah, for quick groceries is close to 3,600 to 3,800. I don't remember that split. But, yeah. Because we don't have any in systems, we don't treat them as a different unit. So from engineering perspective, I don't have that specific number handy with me. Another one, for companies trying to move from next day delivery to 10 to 30-minute delivery, what's the biggest mindset and operational changes required? You would eventually need to have a TMS in place for sure, and a very strong logistic service provider which can actually fulfill that particular point to do that. And the operational challenges would be like the picking, the SKUs which you intend to service. You would eventually have to trim it down to like few hundred to start with, and then only you would be able to embark onto that particular journey. You cannot any app which you see that there is a dedicated or like a smaller assortment which can actually be done, because everything you should be able to identify that particular specific product which there on which shelf and everything, and then eventually once you uh, get a hang of it, then eventually you keep on adding the assortments and all. But yeah, like it can never match uh, the assortment which you have for the next day delivery if you intend to do it in like 10 to 30 minutes. Okay, balancing profitability become, I'm curious about how it works. Is this we covered uh, architecture, and yeah, yep. So these are actually answered what I have in the Q&A section. Also onto the chat, uh, does it include delivery?
Yeah,
Okay,
so we have covered already the chat and as well as Q&A, what I'm looking at.
any other questions? uh, yes, Anil, Weber, Musabir, Ikramul.
How important is AI and demand forecasting in reducing delivery times?
Okay, I can take this one. How important is AI in demand forecasting and reducing delivery times? Uh, Again, like AI is like, this is crucial in identifying your top selling SKUs as across do it, and identify that particular SKUs in the what you call in the quickest time frame possible. But for example, you can okay, another thing what actually changes from traditional e-com to quick com is the replenishment cycles. So replenishment cycles are close to twice a day, right? So how soon you are able to get that particular signal, so that you can actually place that particular order from your dark store to the warehouse or the nearest serving node. So that can actually be automated, right? So you don't actually, because you would be running onto like very thin stuff, or the operators who are there on the dark store. So this particular signal needs to be automated, and yes, AI can actually uh, help a lot in this particular thing. Also, the time in which you actually create new features, or the problems which you identify, AI largely helps in like solutioning and deploying and solving it, or like developing it and deploying it onto your systems, right? So it actually largely accelerates the pace at which you identify and solve the problem. Also, like few things are actually better done by AI, because at the end of it you would be using the same traditional model. So how soon, how quickly you are able to get that feedback data back into your data lake, run some sort of an analysis, and give that particular signal. And this entire analysis time is actually crunched to less than an hour, versus traditionally at least couple of days had it been offline, because you would have an end of the day cron running in, and then maybe some sort of models and everything, and that opportunity is actually lost.
Yeah, just to add one point on this, AI now is important not only in particular sector or particular data set. It is important everywhere. Even in development, you need AI because you need to build faster. So AI is important everywhere, not only in, yeah. What skills should a student develop if they want a career in e-commerce or quick commerce operations? So I believe the first whatever they are doing, let's suppose they are doing IT in or CS in and BTech, then they have to basically understand. So you cannot blame syllabus or study, because syllabus is different and what you do in industries is completely different. So I believe with the syllabus we have now different different industry running different programs in AI in developing in different development languages. So pick one and start with that. Understand all the basics of that. Then only you can choose another technology. But before it, first understand the basic of the thing that you are already learning. So I think this is the best advice I can give for any student who are looking career in IT or CS.
Okay, what customer behavior insight convinced you that quick commerce was the future? Mm, we actually we were actually the first ones, I think, when the quick commerce was not even the norm anywhere in the world. We did it. The unit economics didn't work for us, right? So because we were still trying to uh, cater to the quick commerce with the traditional toolings and everything, and because we couldn't keep up with the promises, we couldn't match the unit economics and everything, we eventually shot down that particular idea. And that particular gap or the void which actually remained over there, uh, that was captured and filled by the other incumbents, right? So, and they actually did it small, and they actually did a brilliant job in like identifying the areas where they can actually do come up, and it went like a big bang in terms of the news across the nation. And that's where like other players also started joining in, and we eventually started, okay, we already have some sort of the largest number of stores in India which can actually act as the serving nodes or the dark stores. And that's why we actually entered somewhere last August. Like, so we are less than like uh, 12 months into this wave, and we have actually like increased it 5 times. right? So these were the engineering constraint which actually took us to increase from a couple of lakh of orders to 20 lakh orders per day. And we have capability to explode to 3.5 million orders at any given point of time in next 1 month or 2 months, right? So it's more of a conscious decision which actually do it. So customer behaviors, we started seeing that okay, there is a lot of newer business or the untapped area which can actually be done. So the moment, which is more of a behavioral shift, like when you have one option to do it, or which can actually be delivered in 10-15 minutes, why do you actually want to move? So that instant gratification is the decision maker. And uh, and we have observed that there are a lot of repeating customers, right? So we are able to do some sort of a time series analysis where there are people who order at specific time every Saturday and everything. So that behavioral thing which we are able to develop, which is not there on the traditional e-commerce. Also, the stickiness is better. And uh, and yes, you do spend a lot of money in acquiring and building that particular behavior. You need to incentivize them to some sort of coupons and everything. So very interesting thing. Apologies, right? So in terms of new user coupons, right? So there used to be just one or two in traditional e-commerce, and in quick commerce you actually have to give it for 7 to 8 times, or at least or reactivate it at a given frequency, right? So all your other behavioral and the find engage, that is one thing where you actually incentivize a user to keep coming back to you. Those habituated buying decisions and everything, those needs to be done. So there are a very complex data analytics which you actually need to do at different intervals with different cross sections of slicing and dicing of the data, where you would be able to come up. But yeah, the behavior was like the instant gratification, what you get, the impulse buying, you actually need to piggyback onto that point.
So one question is, as delivery speed becomes similar across platforms, what becomes real differentiator? Price, assortment, or trust? So all are important. The one thing is delivery predictability. So let's suppose you have multiple apps and you are ordering from other apps. But the problem is right now every app, if you use Blinkit, Zapto, or JioMart also, they have not guaranteed delivery that it would be delivered in 10 minutes. This is the estimated delivery time, and this can be changed based on different conditions, geographical locations, or the traffic. So this will be changed for everyone. But the thing, the real differentiator is that the product availability that your dark stores has, the price, the discount that you provide, or the support. Let's suppose there is a problem in order, then how your support system is, your chat support or your live chat with the person that in our chat support system. So these things being will be the real differentiators, and that will basically increase the trust of the customer towards the application.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Shashank?
Yeah. So assortment, if I have to pick one, because that's
Hmm.
the differentiator now. So speed and all, I think that is still questionable. It's arguable, right? So that is the ETA is something which where you would be able to hook the customer. So which is now similar, and also, and there is no guarantee. Like none of the platform actually uh, gives it that okay, we'll refund you XYZ thing if you are not able to fulfill that 12 minutes or something. And it also, you need to understand that when you actually keep on adding more products to the cart, that ETA actually changes, right? Because there would be algorithm which actually calculates uh, the place where that particular product is actually stored onto the warehouse, right? And if the cart size increases, your ETAs and everything also increases. And I believe people are actually fine if as long as you are able to deliver it in sub 30 minutes or something, right? So assortment would be the key thing, because you don't actually have to place multiple orders onto multiple platforms to do that. So that actually triggers the decision. Another one, how do you balance personalization in the app with speed? specifically when decisions needs to be instant in quick commerce. Yes. So the moment when I to save time, like being back onto the same answer, or like what I explained earlier, the moment a call actually goes to the TMS, and which actually zeroes down to a particular store, for each and every category in the it is actually shown based on the past users past behavior, and overarched with the other probability of that particular product being sold. For example, coriander, onions have a very high probability as compared to okra to be ordered, right? So the manner in which each and every widget is placed at a different point of the day, and the previous buying behavior of that particular thing, of that particular category, helps uh, or make it easier for the customer to make the decision. For example, as long as you have ordered uh, onions, we have actually started showing a drop down card which actually list the other combined products, such as like onions, you have lemon, you have like coriander. So right, so it's easier, you reduce the cognitive load from the customer, and make it make the prompts and the UX elements uh, intuitive, so that this also helps you increase the average cart size as well. So more number of orders being actually products being ordered into the same thing, like average items, order items per bill, and all those things, right? So there is a layer of hyper personalization, not just personalization, in place, and it is actually there in each and every app what we see. And there are like a very well established products in the market which actually helps you do that. Algolia, Google Vertex, to name a few. And also you can actually have your solar fine tuned to cater to these use cases.
So I think because of the time foundation, we have to, end this session right now.
Yep.
But happy to take questions over email.
Yeah. I
Yep.
think pretty much of us are available on LinkedIn, and which could be reached out, and which I believe is the easiest way to connect with anyone of us. Right toward the end of it, like, yes, there was some sort of unselfish motive behind this particular webinar. We do sell products and services, both at the Successive and Fynd, right? So yeah, happy to do business.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
your time. Bye bye.